Thank you guys for tuning in to an impromptu episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics, as we discuss Vonn Bell, who is reportedly going to be coming back to the Cincinnati Bengals, as I broke the news along with Bengals Drake, and as well discussing the signings of Sheldon Rankins. But before we get into all the discussion, let's, if you guys could do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live. If you guys want to know how wired I need to be for these type of shows, well, let me just show you this. This is the type of coffee that is going to be keeping me awake to make sure that I'm able to keep up the energy, discuss everything with you guys, because as I promised you guys, we have free agency around the clock 24/7. And I agree with you, Chas and Scott. Shout out to Marissa, because without her, none of this is possible.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Daniel, let's discuss Vonn Bell returning to the Bengals. Let's discuss Sheldon Rankins. I purposefully waited to go live about the Sheldon Rankins thing because I had got wind that this was coming down the pipeline, and I wanted to make sure I tackled both at the same time versus, you know, jumping in and just doing the Sheldon Rankins thing and then going to live again tonight for Vonn Bell. So, Daniel, let's get your early thoughts on Vonn Bell returning to the Bengals.
Yeah, so Vonn Bell returning the Bengals. I love this, man. I love this, and the reason why. Let's just break down the safety room as a whole. Shout out to Duke Tobin. Shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals front office for what they're doing. Right, you came into the offseason with questions at defensive tackle, at safety, at offensive tackle, and let's talk about the safety room. Right, when I watched the film last year, Dax Hill was very up and down, but the number one strength of Dax Hill was hands down him covering tight ends. And it wasn't even close, right? His ability to, cover the best tight ends in the league. When the Bengals faced the Kansas City Chiefs, he covered a Travis Kelce one-on-one. When, even multiple times, against Dalton Schultz with the Houston Texans, when he was one-on-one with these great tight ends, he succeeded. So you look at Dax Hill and you saw a lot of growing pains as him as a free safety. He was an elite. In the Jacksonville Jaguars game, we were there, courtesy of First Star. We were there on a trip and we saw him drop, I believe, for sure one interception. It could have even been multiple. So Dax Hill definitely struggled as a free safety. And the coaching staff definitely, they see these guys in practice every single week. So they're clearly not comfortable with him being the starting free safety, which is why you bring in Geno Stone. We did a film breakdown of Geno Stone here on the Sit Down YouTube channel. And Geno Stone is a consistent safety. He's not the 7 interceptions, I watched them. They weren't all that it was shaped up to be. Geno Stone is a free safety. He can play the deep half of the field. He can be, your cover 3, deep third of the field. He's not going to be playing in the box, though. That's where Jordan Battle and that's where Vonn Bell had major success, in the box as the strong safety. And when you look at, how the entire safety room's is shaping up, Jordan Battle has proven he could play free safety at Alabama, but now you bring in a veteran like Vonn Bell in a year that is so crucial for a guy like Jordan Battle. This is his second year. This is typically when you see a huge jump in NFL defensive backs, right? Their second year, especially with this being his first full year. Hopefully that he's going to get a lot more snaps than he did last year. So how I see this fit with Vonn Bell, I don't necessarily know if he'll be the starter. I don't know if he'll be the depth piece, but regardless, he is going to help Jordan Battle's development out a ton. And at the end of the day, now you got 3 safeties in Battle, Vonn Bell, and you also got Dax Hill as well as Geno Stone. So you just look at the depth of this room, knock on wood, any injuries occur, you're pretty much set. And just Lou Anarumo, he can cook now. Lou Anarumo has his safeties that he wanted, and man, Vonn Bell is going to help the development of Battle, and he's just a consistent threat that he had a good year last year with the Carolina Panthers. He did. And man, I'm just excited. I'm really happy about the depth in the league. Seriously.
I agree. And, one of the biggest questions is how does this all work? Before we jump into how it all works, we've got over 300 people in the chat. If you guys could do us a favor, we were sitting at 39 likes. If we can get the likes up, man, on this, I would greatly appreciate you guys, because none of this is possible without you guys. Somebody said Locked On Bengals is going live too. I'm sure. And I appreciate, I think it's great that we have all this type of coverage and stuff like that. As you guys know, every single year annually, we do free agency frenzy. We go live at midnight. We go live at all these types of wonky times. We've been doing this for a while now. So I appreciate you guys all planning to, rock with us here. But people are wondering, how does the safety room work now with Vonn Bell added to the addition? And I'll tell you how it works. As I told you, one of the biggest issues with this Bengals defense was the communication aspect throughout this entire season. I think that's why a lot of the defense looked the way that it did. It's no secret. Lou Anarumo never wanted to lose Vonn Bell. He never wanted to lose Vonn Bell. He's quoted as saying, "If I were to lose Jesse and Vonn, it would be a dark day." So I think when you look at the entire sequence of everything, it's all right. Vonn Bell wanted to go to greener pastures, see what he could do. He was in Cincinnati for what, 3 years, 4 years, however long he was here, and be able to just do something a little bit different. And that's what he did. He got a chance to go to Carolina, and it didn't pan out the way he anticipated. Carolina, we all know, was what they were this year. But I think the one thing Vonn Bell was looking for in his career was stability, and he got that in Cincinnati. He got the chance to be the true enforcer of this defense. And I think it's very similar to the Michael Johnson situation. When Michael Johnson left the Bengals, went to the Buccaneers, didn't work out, came back to the Bengals. Now I think Lou, I'm pretty sure, is going to be excited because you get your vet back there. You get your guy that you never want to leave. You got your enforcer back there, and you get your veteran presence, a guy that's done it as well. Now, I know for a fact that nobody knew for sure that the Panthers were going to release Vonn Bell, but when the opportunity came to bring him back to Cincinnati, it was almost a no-brainer. So I guess to answer the question, how it's going to work, here's how I envision it. I think that the Bengals are going to run their 3 safety tandem guys. That's what I believe. I believe they're going to run their 3.
Mekhi Becton visiting Bengals tomorrow.
Yep. I expect the safety room to look like this. Jordan Battle is a starter, no matter which way you slice it. Vonn Bell is going to also be a starter, I believe, and I think Geno Stone is going to act as that third safety. That's what I believe is going to happen. I think Vonn Bell is going to be back there for communication and just overall his run defense as well. So it's funny, you just talked about Mekhi Becton visiting the Bengals. We talked about that. He was the ideal fit that I think made sense. The Bengals loved him come out of the draft. The Frank Pollock connection is there as well. We're going to touch more and more on that as we go. I expect the deal to get done too. While he is here in Cincinnati, I think the whole thing, they want to make sure the physicals check out, a lot like how, the Lions are hoping that they can land DJ Reader. But man, yeah, this is great, man. This is great. This is a good signing for the Bengals. And one thing, it helps them get deep in the secondary. Here's the one thing people got to realize too. Dax Hill was really never your traditional free safety at Michigan. He was moved around. He was in man-to-man coverage at times. He was asked to do a lot of things. He's a Swiss Army knife. So could you imagine if Dax Hill is able to slot in as that roamer / tight end coverage guy / slot corner, if you will? Because I think one thing people aren't talking about is Mike Hilton's a free agent after next year.
Yep.
So what if Dax Hill slots in that role, looks great in that role, and we're like, okay, damn, we have that position sorted out. Does Dax Hill project better as a corner? I think we're going to get questions. I think we're going to get we're going to get answers to those questions. And, it's one of those things where it's going to sort itself out. So Danny, what are some more thoughts that you have on the Vonn Bell signing? We know what Vonn Bell looks like in Cincinnati. We've seen it firsthand. Just tell me some more thoughts.
Yeah, I think the safety position is an extremely important position in the sense that you have to, it's the last line of defense. And there was a reason why all Bengals fans, right, were clamoring for Nick Scott to be cut this offseason. Everybody was. And ask yourself why, right? Why was every Bengals fan clamoring for Nick Scott to be cut? Nothing against him as a person, but as the player, he struggled a lot. It was missed tackles. It was missed assignments. It's run fits. When you go and watch the film of the Bengals, it's the safety is the last line of defense. They are. And it is extremely important that you're not missing tackles. It's extremely important that you're in the right spot. And that's why they went out and got those 2 guys, Geno Stone and Vonn Bell, because at the end of the day, both of those 2, their biggest, strength as an NFL safety is they just understand their football IQ is off the charts. They understand schemes, and they are 2 safeties that are always in the right place at the right time. Vonn Bell, more so than Geno Stone. Geno is not a huge hitter in the run game. He's not. He is at the right, he got very good in his run fits. He will be at the right spot, but we watch his film. Christian McCaffrey, bulldoze him a couple times. Tajay Spears, Tennessee Titans running back, bulldoze him a couple times. That's not Geno Stone's game. But when you got Vonn Bell, he is the enforcer. He is the guy in the run game that's going to lay the hammer on these running backs. And now you have versatility in the safety room. And so for me personally, Malik, when I look at this, I'm happy. I'm happy with the way free agency is playing out right now, especially in the safety room. You got continuity with Lou Anarumo still being the defensive coordinator, and now he's got chess pieces. Just look at the safety room from last year to this year. Last year, you were heading into it with a rookie safety in Jordan Battle, with a Dax Hill who's never seen real starting time at the safety position, with Nick Scott, who you've had him in the room for maybe 4 months, and you haven't seen how he plays with the Bengals. Now you've got a guy in Vonn Bell who's been here before. Now you've got a guy in Jordan Battle who's got reps under him. Now you got a guy in Dax Hill who's a Swiss Army knife. I'm happy. I'm excited because the biggest issues that I had personally with the Bengals secondary was you couldn't cover tight ends, and it was missed tackle after missed tackle after missed tackle until Jordan Battle came in. So I'm excited. I think we see a huge season out of Jordan Battle. And I think Geno Stone and Vonn Bell add huge, great depth pieces. And man, like, I don't think the safety position is an issue anymore. It's not. And Dax Hill, I'm curious, hear his thoughts on all this. But I think if he can really just hone in and accept his role and dive into, what he's going to be asked to do, especially covering tight ends, this defense has the chance to be elite if the Bengals can figure out, their interior defense alignment spot, on top of the fact they just signed Sheldon Rankins. So I'm excited. I think we're going to see some huge steps. Myles Murphy's the guy. As this is all shaping up, Myles Murphy has the ability to be the golden ticket for the Cincinnati Bengals defense. And the reason why I say that is linebackers, you got covered. Safeties, now you got covered. Your cornerbacks, you got covered. Go get another depth piece. But Malik, if Myles Murphy can break out in a big way and be that first round pick, show his first round pedigree, I think this defense has a chance to be electric, Malik.
I think the biggest thing that we're getting is you're getting more juice on the defense, right?
Yes.
This is a defense that performed so poorly last year, and a lot of it came down to the communication. You had a lot of young guys back there. So when you add a guy like Vonn Bell to the mix, it makes life easier. But I got something to tell you. The Bengals aren't done in terms of the interior of the defensive line. They want DJ Reader back. Do not let anybody tell you anything otherwise. Trust me, I talked to the powers in that building today, literally less than a half an hour ago. They want DJ Reader back in Cincinnati. That is still something that they are trying to do. Does it happen? I don't know. It's up in the air now. The guy's going to, Detroit to visit with them and see if he likes Detroit. So that's always a hairy situation, a sticky situation. The one thing you guys got going for you is he's been in your building. He knows what the culture is like. He understands what being a Bengal is all about. So he now has to put it together. Do I like Dan Campbell's culture? Do I like Zach Taylor's culture? Does the money make sense? There's so many contributing factors to DJ Reader's decision. But Cincinnati, I feel, because of the experience he has had, I'm assuming was a positive one. I just really hope contract negotiations didn't hurt that. That's all I hope. That being said, they still want to add to the interior of the defensive line. They, again, want to make this very clear. And I think Joe Goodberry, my good friend, he did a great job explaining it.
Yep.
Sheldon Rankins plays a completely different position from DJ Reader. He's a 3-tech. He's a guy that can rush the passer. You're not getting that anchor against the run in Sheldon Rankins. What you're getting is you're getting that Larry Ogunjobi duo with BJ Hill that the Bengals has missed so much since their last Super Bowl run. They can recreate that now. They still have a need at the nose tackle position. Sheldon Rankins was not brought in to be nose tackle and BJ Hill be 3-tech, or BJ Hill be 3-tech and Sheldon Rankins be whatever, the same, the opposite. That's not what he's brought in. He was brought in to spell each other, to make sure on pass rushing downs, those guys are able to rush the passer, but you still need an anchor to stop the run, which is why you saw the Bengals going after run defenders, guys like Malcolm Roach, so on and so forth. So With all that being said, they want DJ Reader back. Could you imagine DJ Reader, Sheldon Rankins, BJ Hill? You recreate it again. Do you put Sheldon Rankins over Larry Okunjobi? Man, I think both of those guys have a lot of juice. I think both of those guys are great at rushing the passer. Sheldon Rankins this year had 6 sacks. 3 of those sacks came against Cincinnati Bengals, but he's always been a guy that's able to get pressure on the quarterback. And that's what the Bengals missed so much. That is what the Bengals missed so much. But I got to be honest with you. This is looking like a very good free agency because they're doing the one thing that I said they can't do, and that's pigeonholing themselves for the draft. You mean to tell me you got the tight end or slot receiver, whatever you want to call them. In this Bengals offense, Mike Gesicki is the tight end, the ideal tight end that they need because it's a pass-happy offense. You got Younger at the running back position. You're potentially going to add a right tackle. That doesn't stop you from drafting a tackle, but you at least get a guy in here with a first-round grade, right? He has that not first-round grade, but he has that first-round badge on him. He's a guy you were very high on coming out the draft process. His offensive line coach that drafted him is your offensive line coach now. And let's put it together. If Mekhi Becton can stay healthy, could he be the answer at right tackle? Let's talk about that. Yeah. Could he be the answer at right tackle? And the reason why I give him a little bit of slack from the how many pressures did he give up this year? What was it again? I know he gave up a ton of pressures this year. Yeah. The reason why I give him a little slack is because he was dealing with a quarterback. Zach Wilson's known he doesn't have the best feet in the pocket. He holds the ball a lot. I don't give anybody on that Jets offensive line too much flack because it's very difficult to block for an inexperienced quarterback. I think Mekhi Becton would have looked a lot better had Aaron Rodgers been his quarterback versus Zach Wilson. That is what my thoughts are. Again, but we've also seen Mekhi Becton healthy. We've seen Mekhi Becton do it. So, again, I'm not writing home about this saying he's going to be some all-pro and yada, yada, yada. I just would say I remember most of Bengals Nation being high on that guy coming out and wanting him so bad.
Yes.
So don't let the injuries scare you off of what you think the production could be if he's able to stay healthy. Because we could be saying the same thing about Amarius Mims, in my opinion. That's what I'm saying. We could be saying the same thing about Amarius Mims. Amarius Mims is a guy a lot of people are high on, but you had the availability concerns with him. And will they rear his ugly head? The talent is never in question. Right? And I think that's the thing with Mekhi Becton. The talent is not in question. Right? It's not. So
the talent, and there obviously he does have some flaws in his game, but at the end of the day, you're not going to get a perfect offense tackle in free agency. You're not. Jonah Williams is gone. He wasn't perfect by any means either. But just shout out to the Bengals, like you said, they are putting up a great free agency, man. They are doing the thing, right? They are filling the needs, and they're still saving a lot of money. You look at, they've still got money left over. And we said this on the earlier today. You look at these other teams have way more bigger pressing needs than the Bengals do now. We're on day 3 of free agency, and you've already filled a ton of holes, and you're not allocating a lot of money. Safety position, done. Running back position, you got Zach Moss. Tight end position, you got Sample and Gesicki. And talking about Mekhi Becton, Mekhi is a guy where the dude is 24 years old. He's 24 years old. He still has a ton of potential. Yes, his weight hasn't always been been there. Yes, he has given up a ton of sacks and a ton of pressures, but that doesn't mean he can't be good. And, we talked about this, but the Frank Pollack connection it's important, right? And I'm sure it played a role in Mekhi Becton coming here for a visit because Frank Pollack really wanted him, right? And having an offensive line coach that can work with your offensive alignment and is willing and wants to work is so important because offensive line, especially coming out of the draft, it is so unrefined, right? You're betting on talent and you're betting on it's about coaching. Can the coaching change an offensive line? And I'm willing to bet Mekhi Becton, if he's the guy for the Bengals, he could be a solid offensive tackle. So I'm just happy because the way this is shaping up, man, it's looking good because if Mekhi Becton is the offensive tackle, you're heading into the draft not with a glaring hole at offensive tackle. You pencil in Mekhi Becton. Hopefully you can get a first-round offensive tackle, but you're leaving yourself open for all opportunities, right? You're leaving yourself open if a Jerzon Newton's on the board. You're leaving yourself open if you love a cornerback. You're leaving yourself open if you want to trade back. So the Cincinnati Bengals, the way the roster's playing out, Malik, I absolutely love it. So offensive tackle, we'll see what happens with Mekhi Becton. And I know a lot of people are talking about like Tyler Guyton at offense tackle. We talked about this. You're gonna have your pick at the guys, man. I'm not a huge fan of Tyler Guyton. I think um, he's in a similar boat as a guy like Mekhi Becton. Tyler Guyton didn't play much at college. You're betting on the intangibles. He's not as technically refined as any of the offensive tackles in the top, like Fuaga, like Joe Alt, like Olafashanu. But you're gonna have your pick, and you're at pick number 18. So you can even go Jackson Powers Johnson. We talked about this. You're setting yourself up for a very, very good draft because you don't have a major need besides a nose tackle. So just looking at some of these questions too. Sign Mekhi Becton, draft Amarius Mims, 1000%. You can go after. Okay, Amarius Mims. Yeah, no. I know you're.
We ain't doing both of them.
So
we ain't doing both of them.
Are you doing Mekhi Becton and an offensive tackle?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
but I ain't doing. They too similar to me.
Yeah,
they're too similar to me. I'm good.
Yeah.
No. You do one or the other.
Yeah.
You don't do both. I'm good.
Yeah. No, completely.
So like, sure, great. I'm okay with it. I didn't mean to stop your shine there. I'm just saying.
No. I'm with you. I'm with you. I was
both.
just curious. Yeah. No, I think the way it's working out now, I think they are. If Becton is, I still think they were to go offensive tackle, and you got to see how the board falls. You got to see which offensive tackles on the board. I think Fuaga will be gone. If I were to make a prediction, I don't see a whole lot of hype around JC Latham. I don't see him getting the top 10, top 15 looks like Amarius Mims and Tylese Fuaga. I think Latham's going to be a guy who's there. So I'm curious to see how that unfolds. But we got some people asking, nose tackle. What do they do at the nose tackle position? Still, DJ Reader's a possibility, and it would be in your best interest to go and get DJ Reader. Eric Armstead mainly lines up at the 3 tech, but the dude is versatile. Javon Kinlaw was on record saying Eric Armstead is his favorite player on any defensive line because of how versatile he is. He's 6'7", 300-something pounds. Eric Armstead, DJ Reader, depends on the contract, but you still have a major hole because Josh Dupo was a nose tackle. You don't have a nose tackle on your roster right now. You don't. You have 3 techs, the pass rushers. So we'll see. DJ Reader, is supposed to go to the Lions on a visit tomorrow. So we'll see about the nose tackle position.
Let's talk a little bit more about Sheldon Rankins, man.
Yep.
I think that addition is so huge, man. Because I think that you're going to see new life out of that entire defensive line with these guys in the fold. And listen, we talked about this, man. In free agency, the Bengals are going to be looking to add these bargain bin type of deals of players that still have a lot of juice left that just fits what they're looking for, man. And you talk about Geno Smith. I mean, I keep saying Geno Smith. Geno damn Stone. He's a guy that you're banking on to see him continue to take the necessary steps forward, right? And I think it's a telltale when you see how angry some of the other people may get that the fact that the Bengals were able to add him. But I look at the moves that they made of Geno Stone. That is a move that you're banking on potential. You're banking on him to continue to flourish in his growth and his potential. And then you add a guy like Sheldon Rankins, who you could ask you could say, do you think he's better than Larry Ogunjobi? I know some people believe he is. Some people are, whatever about it. But I think that they're doing their best to try to correct the issues that they had on the defensive front last year. I really think that they are. I think the communication aspect, and just like you're getting people as well that can create turnovers as well. So when I see them adding a Geno Stone, when I see them adding to the 3 tech position to make sure that pass rush in the interior is not something that falters later down the road, man, this is exactly what Bengals fans asked for, right? And I know a lot of people are probably wondering, why isn't there a lot of movement on the edge? As it was told to me, they feel like they really believe in the guys that they have in the room. They believe in Cam Sample. They believe in Joseph Ossai. They believe in Sam Hubbard. They believe in Trey Hendrickson. They believe in Miles Murphy. They're really excited about those guys that they have on the edge position. So they think that the interior of the defensive line, coupled with the communication aspect, it will clear up a lot of issues. And I think they believe that you'll see a better defense next year going forward.
And you definitely will. Sheldon Rankins, everybody obviously rightfully so wants to talk about that Bengals game. He said that was his best game of his career. I mean, 3 sacks, 9 pressures. Yeah, he did some major work against the Bengals. And Sheldon Rankins, when you discuss you want juice on the defensive line, that's what you're getting. BJ Hill was good for the Bengals. BJ Hill is good for the Bengals. But Sheldon Rankins, just adding another guy to that defensive line, with respect to guys obviously like Zach Carter and Josh Dupo, Sheldon Rankins is a different beast. He is there to rush the passer. He has pass rushing moves. He is able to bull rush. He is, he's got a nice swim move, has even showed off that he's got a spin move in his arsenal. Sheldon Rankins, man, he's going to add a lot of juice to the defensive line. And just, it can't be understated and can't be undervalued how much having a rotation helps defensive linemen. You look at all the great defensive lines in the NFL, point to the 49ers, for example. They are rotating guys in and out. The Detroit Lions last year rotated Aiden Hutchinson, rotated all their defensive linemen. The Dallas Cowboys, you rotate defensive linemen, and keeping these guys fresh over the course of an 18-game season, over the course of a major playoff run, that helps so much. You look at guys like Chris Jones. He doesn't play all the snaps for the Chiefs. He doesn't. Most of the time, he'll have a nice game, but in the fourth quarter, he's been on record saying this. All right, in the fourth quarter, he turns it up. He turns it up another notch. And having depth like a Sheldon Rankins going off with BJ Hill, that makes this defensive line much more impactful. And you're going to see that interior defensive line. We'll see what works out with the nose tackle spot. But that's going to help out Myles Murphy so much. That's going to help out Trey Hendrickson so much. Last year was a one-man wrecking crew. Trey Hendrickson. It really was. It was Trey Hendrickson and BJ Hill every now and then, but it wasn't anybody else. The fact that you're getting help is extremely, extremely important for the defensive line. Some people are asking about T'Vondre Sweat. T'Vondre Sweat is a beast. But once again, the Bengals aren't going to be looking at this defensive tackle class and saying, T'Vondre Sweat's our guy, and we're getting him no matter what. That's not how it works. They're not thinking about T'Vondre Sweat right now. They may be looking at the defensive tackle class as a whole, but they're not looking at T'Vondre Sweat and saying, he's the guy. Because what if he's gone? What if he gets picked at the top of the second round? He's a nice, he's a nice goal for Bengals fans to think about, but it's T'Vondre Sweat is, you can't bank on him being your starting nose tackle because he's not even selected yet. He wasn't even drafted yet. So I like T'Vondre Sweat. Some people said BJ Hill, Goodberry said BJ Hill put his house up for sale. I don't necessarily know if that means anything. I haven't seen if he officially put up his house up for sale or anything, but if BJ Hill and Sheldon,
I wouldn't read in too much into rumors, guys, at this point in time. This is make-believe season where people just make stuff up. Don't read too much into that. He could be moving. Who knows? It's because me so many different. Even if it's true, if it's not true or not, don't read too much into it. This isn't TMZ, so continue, Dan. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm not. We'll see if news officially breaks. But I mean, this is also the part that's kind of funny, just because people will read so much in these guys' personal lives, and I understand. That's what they sign up for, but who knows? Nobody knows what is up with BJ Hill. Maybe, like you said, maybe he wants to move. Maybe he's figuring something else out. We got some people asking, Jonah Williams signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Good for him. 2-year deal. He's definitely going to go bet on himself, right? It wasn't a long-term deal. He's making 30-something million, 20-something.
He said Reader's house. He said Reader's house, not BJ Hill's house.
Really?
Yeah. T-Bird said Reader's house went up on. I'm not reading into that, man. But
yeah,
he said Goodberry said it in the spaces.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't read too much into it. I mean,
listen, the guy's taking a visit to the Lions.
Yeah.
There's a chance he's not here by tomorrow. There's a chance that he signs with the Lions. 100% happen. I wouldn't just read too much. I wouldn't get too deep into that, guys. He either is going to be a Bengal or he's not going to be a Bengal. It's one or the other. So I don't want you guys, going crazy over stuffly. And I got to text Joe. That's weird. How do you know that, bro?
I mean, I don't know.
Joe's a super spy now.
So we got some questions, Ryan.
No, I appreciate you, T-Bird. That makes a lot more sense. I was just more so saying, you don't read too much. So much stuff happens in the off season, man. I just wouldn't go too crazy about it. That's all.
Mm-hmm. So we got Ryan Wilhelm said, any chance that we are in the market for a slot wide receiver in free agency? I mean, there's some good ones that we just talked about beforehand, like Hunter Renfro's available. But at the end of the day, I don't know if the Bengals are necessarily looking at that as a major need. right? You got Jamar Chase, you got Charlie Jones, you got Andre Yoshivas. I would bet that they are, confident in Charlie Jones and the wide receiver class in the NFL draft. It's a good class. Like you got some guys you can have your pick at, even in round 3, round 4. You look where they drafted Jones and where they drafted Yoshivas later in the draft.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's necessarily specific names in free agency. Hunter Renfro's a guy that I've seen thrown around to other teams. Maybe he's a guy you take as a veteran, but if you want to really give your young guys a chance, now's the year, especially for a guy like Charlie Jones, who was damn near elite at the college level. Great as an outside wide receiver, great hands, good speed. He was a burner, and maybe they want to give him a chance. So I definitely think Charlie Jones is going to get a chance. Somebody said Ladd McConkey. Yeah, but for me personally, a second round, I think you go trenches the first 2 rounds. Obviously, you go best player available, but you're going to have your chance to really build up these trenches. And that's where you get the pedigree of, hey, the defensive line is built in the early parts of the draft. Yes, you get guys the later parts, but that's where, the early parts of the draft, in my opinion, you go trenches and you can get some solid wide receivers in round 3, in round 4. Chelsea Sample said, any good running backs to get late? I wouldn't necessarily look to the free agent market personally. I mean, there's not a lot of names that are really going to, shake something up in the Bengals room, but I would definitely look to the draft. There's my thoughts would be go out, get a 5'11", 6'1" running back, get a bruiser, because Zach Moss is 5'9". Chase Brown is 5'9", not the biggest running backs. Go out and get a guy in round 3, round 4, round 5 that can do it in the end, the red zone, that can do it in the short down goal line work. That's what I would be personally looking at. And we'll talk about it more come draft season, but there's definitely some names that we like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Landon Van Steen's asking, do you think that we go out and get a corner in the rest of free agency?
Sure. I mean, I think I can see them adding a corner. Just, to make sure you have depth. You did lose Cheetah Baby Wednesday, so you definitely want to have another guy just in case. But I don't also think it's pressing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jordan White said, would you rather Eric Armstead or Tier Tart if Reader is gone? 1,000% Eric Armstead. I mean, if you're asking us, Eric Armstead is on the same tier of a DJ Reader in his pedigree, in what he can do for a football team. He can rush the passer with the best of them, and he's versatile. So if I'm looking at it, I think it's DJ Reader, Eric Armstead, and the Tier Tart is on a tier below them. But I definitely think it's in the Bengals' best interest. Figure out the Reader and Armstead situation tomorrow. Now, do it now. But
you got to bring another guy in, regardless if Reader signs the Lions or not. You got to bring another defensive tackle in. You can't rely on a rookie to fill that void at the nose tackle position. You obviously still have Tupou, but is he ready to be a starter? I don't think so. He's a good role fit, right? So ideally, I mean, I guess that's essentially what a nose tackle is too, a role fit, right? It's like they're playing 1 to 2, 1 to 2 downs, first and second down, and they're getting off the field. And ideally you take both of your 3 techs, you match them in there together. They both rush the pass along with the edge rushers. And then, life becomes hectic for a quarterback and the opposing offensive line. So, I mean, that's the perfect fit. But if you can get a true gem at the nose tackle position, ideally that fit would be Reader. That's why when people talk about Eric Armstead, I just don't know if he's the ideal fit. I don't know if he's the ideal fit because, I mean, Eric Armstead could do it all. He could stop the run. He can rush the passer. So maybe, I don't know. But I just think that if we're going off of needing a traditional fit, DJ Reader will be the ideal guy that you're looking to bring in. But him visiting the Lions, anything's possible now. All bets are off the table now.
Yeah, I mean, he's not signed, so that's where he's not on the roster, and that's definitely the issue. And like you said, Eric Armstead traditionally lined up at the 3 tech, which means he's rushing the passer mainly, but he can do it all. Switching over real quick, talking about offensive tackles, our guy Yonface said Trent Brown or Tyron Smith, chances as right tackle and Becton as a depth piece. I doubt they go both, in my opinion. If they go sign Mekhi Becton, I think I don't know if it'd be smart to go out and get Trent Brown or Tyron Smith. What do you think?
I think Mekhi Becton is not leaving the building tomorrow. That's what I think. I think it's the worst kept secret. I was told early on in the process they liked Mekhi Becton. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. But I don't think anybody's beating down that guy's door. And we'll have obviously the coverage for you guys as it all shakes out. And we talk about, I don't think he stops you from drafting a tackle, but he does make things interesting because let me tell you guys this. What if Jackson Powers Johnson, who you guys know I was like, but what if he's sitting there at 18 now? Because if you draft a Johnny Newton, he's not a nose tackle.
No.
I'll tell you who is a nose tackle, but has pass rushing ability, Byron Murphy. But what are the chances that guy is sitting there? I told you guys, I said, that guy has the ability to be the first defensive player off the board. He does. Like, that was the chatter. People loved him. So the Bengals are in a spot where they can hope and pray that that guy will be sitting there. They're not. So when I look at it, you have to ask yourself, okay, if we're going into the draft, Tavondre Sweat is a guy that everybody is talking about, but is he worthy of the 18th overall pick? No, he's not.
No.
Okay, so move on. So who is worthy of the 18th overall pick? To me, it becomes very simple. You have to now, right? You have to now look at offensive tackle. You have to now look at what's the position I just said?
Defense
Offensive tackle and no, not defensive tackle. You have to look at offensive tackle, and you have to consider Jackson Powers Johnson, interior offensive lineman there. You have to, because that guy is good enough to the point where you have to ask yourself, okay, we might like a Newton over him. We might like said other player over him, but we have BJ Hill. We have Sheldon Rankins under contract for the next 2 years.
Yep.
That guy isn't filling the nose tackle role, so now we have an overabundance at the 3-tech spot. So now you have to do something. You have to do something different. You have to draft best player available, which could be a Jackson Powers Johnson. That's a good spot to be in, though.
Yeah.
Which could be an offensive tackle. For me, I'm seriously considering. I don't know about you guys. I'm seriously considering, though, a defensive end. Now, I am. Me personally, I am. Jared Verse, and I talked with some coaches recently about this. Jared Verse is sliding down boards, and we don't know why. It's the biggest mistake. Shout out to Marissa, producer of the show. She put me on to Jared Verse. She did. She said, you need to watch Jared Verse. I said, okay. And I watched him, and I said, wow, enamored. Guy's different. Beast. First question I had is, why did he start JUCO? Why did he, immediately, why did he transfer? Why didn't he, stand out right away? But then you watch the guy's tape, and you just trying to get enamored. You get enthralled with what he has. So, yeah, I 100% like some of the defensive ends in this class. I know Daniel's a big Chop Robinson guy. Don't love the weight, personally. But for me, I think, and this is where I see things differently. I think wishing and hoping and waiting for these guys to finally break through and be something that in the pass rushing department that they're not, outside of Myles Murphy, because we don't know what he is yet, outside of Trey Hendrickson, because we do know what he is, but waiting for these other guys to be these 10-sack, 11-sack, high production type guys is wishful thinking. I feel like the Bengals have pass rushers that are very good at specific things. They have Sam Hubbard, who's really good at stopping the run, right?
Yep.
They have Joseph Asai, who has that pass rushing upside, quick twitch guy who you believe in. You're like, maybe he could finally take the step. Okay. You have Cam Sample, who is just the utility guy, can do it all. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, who's the true pass rush specialist, who do you have that is I don't mention Myles Murphy in this because he just was picked with a draft pick. So what do you do? Like, who do you draft there? Like, who are you relying on essentially to be that true pass rusher? Because I think a Jared Verse could be good with the run. He's good at stopping the run. He's good at rushing the passer.
Yeah.
What happens when Trey Hendrickson's contract is up in 2 years and there's nobody on the roster to take those snaps? Because then we're having the same discussion. Either the Bengals sign a big time free agent, right? Or what happens? They have to draft one. And then once again, you're banking on a rookie to step up. Now, the hope is Myles Murphy steps into that role and becomes an absolute monster because he looked like a monster his first year at Clemson. So those are if the Bengals want to continue to evolve and be a forward-thinking front office, these are the discussions they need to have. To me, offensive line as a whole, but offensive tackle and edge are serious considerations for me now.
Yep.
They have to be. They have to be.
Yeah.
And that's why we said the board could change so much after free agency. I understand Brock Bowers, sexy pick. People love him. Great. Awesome. Cool. What is he doing for you right now, though? Daniel.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is very simple. And this sucks because I was and I still am a huge Jerzon Newton fan. I still am a huge Byron Murphy fan. Where do they fit now? Right? Where do they fit? And you still got to look best player available. The number one thing I will say is you're not trading up for Byron Murphy or Jerzon Newton. I'm not. Just because of the fact that one, I feel like one of them is going to be there. And two, look at your position now, right? They are 2-3 techs. They are rushing the passer. They can stop the run, but they were specifically, there to rush the passer. That's where they got most of their shine from. And Malik, I'm with you, man. And it's hard to say, where would Jared Verse fit? Because you're gonna have to give Myles Murphy snaps. That's why you drafted him. You're gonna have to give Trey Anderson snaps because he is the best pass rusher. But if we're looking at a board with JC Latham, Jared Verse, and Chop Robinson on the board, I'm taking a look at Verse and Chop. I am. Jared Verse, the biggest issue with him, people are saying he's too old. Well, turn on the tape. The dude is a beast. He is elite in the run game. His strength was clear in the red zone. His strength was clear in the goal line packages. His strength was clear in the third and shorts. As a pass rusher, the dude is a mauler. He is powerful. He's strong. And when I turn on Chop Robinson tape, Malik, it's clear. The dude is 21 years old, and he has all pro potential in my eyes. Yeah, I truly believe that his get off is elite. When you turn on
Yo, shout out to Kev. Shout out to Kev, CEO, president of First Star Logistics. He texts you right now. Brock Bowers, exclamation. Kev, appreciate you watching, man. But no, we had this discussion earlier, man. No, because I think he tends to be a lot more right than I am, guys. Yeah. But I mean, I just, you guys know where I am with that pick, man.
Yep.
I don't want the pick to be wasted. That's why. It's not that I hate Brock Bowers. It's just that I think that the world of possibilities open up now. The world of possibilities open up a lot more now, whether it be offensive tackle, whether it be Jackson Powers Johnson, whether it be an edge. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve.
Yep.
Are you gonna throw $18 million at Trey Hendrickson again in 2 years? Are you? I'm not. He's playing great, but you have to prepare. Well, the weird thing about defensive ends, you never know just when everything is just going to fall apart. You never know. The Bengals broke that old adage of, we don't like to pay guys who are in their 30s, which I never really got behind. But he'll be well into his 30s at that point.
Yeah.
And you got to prepare. You have to prepare. This is what the draft is all about, man. No, I'm not saying Mike Gesicki is the answer at tight end. But I think he'll shock a lot of people. And I think for the role that he plays in how they're going to be hoping to use the tight end, more of a receiving threat, less asking to block, that'll be Drew Sample's role. I think you'll see a lot of production out of Mike Gesicki at tight end or slot receiver, tight end slot receiver. He's a big slot receiver. That's what he is, who probably now has the second best hands on the team behind Jamar Chase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brock Bowers is a weapon. That's what he is. And the question just is, are you willing to draft a weapon like Brock Bowers, who would be your number 2 target on the team if, T. Higgins isn't on the roster? If T. Higgins is on the roster, he steps in as the 3rd best target on the roster. Am I drafting that at pick number 18? Am I drafting at Brock Bowers? Also, he is going to have to go through growing pains. Like, he was very good at finding a soft spot in this zone. He was very good at the trick plays in the end arounds and using him in motion. And if Brock Bowers is on the board with an offensive tackle on the board, with an edge rusher on the board, it's a discussion you have to have. In my opinion, I think you go franchise offensive tackle if you love one of them there. I personally am not a huge JC Latham fan. And at the same time, the sexy pick is an edge rusher as well. I think Jared Verse and Chop Robinson, man, those 2 guys are elite pass rushers. The question just is, right, where do they fit in with this year's roster? And I don't necessarily know if they do fit in with this year's roster, but you got to think 2 steps ahead. This Bengals organization, they've shown you time and time again, they draft a year in advance, right? They did it with Dax Hill. They did it with Myles Murphy. So we'll see. I think this is the fun part of the draft where, you're going to have your pick at a lot of guys. Last year, the Bengals were down on the board. This year, you're in the heart of the first round, Malik. And I'm excited to see how this shapes up. And I'm just excited to see, especially later in the draft, I'm looking at some of these wide receivers and some of these running backs, and I am licking my chops because I think you can find a productive wide receiver and a productive running back. Let me say some names real quick. We've said them before, but Isaac Garundo, George Holani, these are some names. Trey Benson, Will Shipley. These are some running backs I truly believe have future starting caliber running back written all over them in the 4th and 5th round. So I'm just excited for this draft. Somebody said thoughts on Kingsley Sumatia. Yeah, we talked with him at the combine. The offensive tackle it's going to run late. You're going to have your pick in the 2nd round. You're going to have your pick in the 3rd round. He's related to Penei Sewell. There's a lot of, great offensive tackles like him. He put on a lot of great tape. Roger Rosengarten from Washington, had a great last 2 years with Washington, was the blindside block for Michael Penix Jr., who I believe is a quarterback that's falling under the radar. I think Michael Penix, in the 2nd round could be good for a lot of teams as a backup
You think
quarterback.
I could tell you right now, the Seahawks are zeroing on Michael Penix. They want him bad.
I would.
He's a guy that they want bad. I thought when you said Michael, I just thought about Michael Pratt for a second. I don't know why he just came to my mind, but no, Michael Penix. He's. It feels like that's the worst. I feel like he's the worst kept secret, and Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Arizona Cardinals is the worst kept secret, personally.
Yeah, I think you're right. And how the 1st round shaping up, I think it's pretty simple. I think you even look at the Chargers, right? You look at the Chargers at 5. I think all signs are pointing them to taking, Joe Alt, offensive tackle. And man, I just think I'm curious. The biggest, area of question is pick number 3, the Patriots. Where do they go? Do they trade the pick back? Do they take the quarterback, the franchise quarterback? And that's the biggest question I truly see in the top 5. But going back to the Cincinnati Bengals, I think you're gonna have your pick, man. And I'm just glad that they're covering their asses, respectfully. I'm super glad because Mekhi Becton, if that's gonna be official, he's a guy where you're not gonna love it, right? You're not gonna walk in day 1 saying he's our starting right tackle. I love it, but he gives you potential. He gives you something to work with. He looked bad with the Jets. We're not gonna cut it, but I think that was more of a factor of the situation. And you're gonna see he's got Joe Burrow's as his quarterback, and now you're not penciled in to say we need an offensive tackle. And same thing for defensive tackle. And some people are asking about cornerback. I don't think that there's a cornerback worth being taken there except Terrion Arnold. I love Quinyon Mitchell. I'm a huge Quinyon Mitchell fan. I just think there's going to be a lot of other talent, but Terrion Arnold is a guy from Alabama. A lot of people are comping him to a guy like Patrick Surtain, one of the best man-to-man cover corners I've seen in the past couple of years. Extremely sticky, fundamentally sound, coming out of Alabama and Nick Saban's scheme. Terrion Arnold's the guy. He's talented, and you're going to see a run on these offensive tackles. You're going to see a run on a position like, for sure, the top 3 wide receivers. So, Malik, I'm just excited that the Bengals are finally, they're having a damn good free agency. And I'm extremely happy with the safety room. I'm extremely happy with the Mike Gesicki pick. And Mekhi Becton, in my opinion, I would rather have him than a Trent Brown and a guy like Tyron Smith. So
yeah, I mean, I listen, I like them. I like the moves the Bengals have made. There's still more work to do. Defensive tackle, right? There's still more work to do. Figuring out the right tackle position. I really hope the Bengals call Dalton Risner.
Yeah.
I hope the Bengals call Dalton Risner, man. I really do. For a guy that I think has played very well since he entered the league. And I talked about it earlier today when we were live. The guy doesn't get a lot of love. Could you imagine? Like, you want to talk about going in, right? It's not going to cost a lot of money. We know the Bengals don't like to pay guards a lot of money, but there's a lot of complaints about Cordell Volson. I don't really think that a lot of the complaints about Cordell Volson are warranted, personally. I think that he's going to go through growing pains, and I don't think you're going to look like. I think you have to, within reason, you can't expect a 4th round pick to look like an all-pro or Quentin Nelson or somebody like that, game in and game out, play in and play out. He's going to have bad plays. He's going to struggle. It's the NFL. These defensive linemen are beasts. They're going to be hard to keep stave off the quarterback on a regular basis. So I think we should cut him a little bit of slack. But if you really believe that Cordell Volson is the worst of the worst. Why not place a phone call to Dalton Risner? Why not see if you can get that guy in the building? Why not? Why, I believe one of my favorite sayings in life is competition breeds success. I never shy away from competition. I don't think sports teams should shy away from competition. You should always try to put your best starters out there, the best people that are going to give you the best chance to win out there. And I think that this would be no different. This would be no different. You bring a guy like Dalton Risner, who no teams seem to be, knocking down his door to bring him in the building. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
If the mission is to keep 9 upright, do everything in your power to keep 9 upright. Does that mean drafting an offensive tackle 18? Sure. Does that mean going out there signing a free agent guard who has played well? Right? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do everything in your power. Leave no stone unturned. You say you want to win this year. That's why you franchise tag T. Higgins. That's why T. Higgins doesn't have a deal yet. That's why he's not traded yet, right? It's because you want to win a championship this year. Well, this is what winning a championship looks like. You're doing everything in your power to get the most out of this roster, to get the most out of this offense, to get the most out of the quarterback position. I don't know. Just my thoughts. I think Dalton Risner will be a great pickup.
1,000%. Also something that, I've looked at. This year's draft for interior offensive line is great, Malik. It is. Like, I looked at some of these guys. Like, there's at least, obviously the center position is not a major need for the Bengals, but I see at least 5 guys that are going to be drafted in rounds 1 through rounds 3 that can be NFL level starters at the center position. I think there are at least 5 guys that can walk in day 1 and be NFL level starters at the center position. So you're also going to have your pick, in rounds 2 and round 3 at interior offensive line. I think there's a lot of great offensive linemen in this year's class. And that's, once again, we talked about this on the earlier show, that shows with how these free agents are being signed. Jonah Williams was signed on day 3. He didn't get 20 something million. He didn't get 18 or, a ton of money like these other offensive tackles did last year. So if I'm the Bengals, I'm licking my chops at this year's draft class. And at the end of the day, we've said this before, but great teams win in the draft.
Yep.
Great teams win in the draft. And man, you're going to have your pick. So I'm excited. I'm honestly pumped up, Malik. Mike Gesicki, Vonn Bell, Geno Stone. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped. So
yeah, man. And guess what? I think the best part about this is more work to do. And guys, the other best part about this, we'll be live again tomorrow. We'll be live again tomorrow. 6 p.m. is the scheduled time for Free Agency Frenzy day 4. The days kind of just fall together at this point. But I have a funny feeling we'll probably be live before then. But if you guys could do us a favor, we have over 400 people watching. Give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live. If you're watching from the First Star Media Group YouTube channel, subscribe to that. Turn on post notifications from that. There you'll see Bengals on the Brain with Joe Goodberry. You'll see In the Trenches with Dave Lapham. You'll see the Sit Down Malik Wright, Stay the Jungle Malik Wright. You'll be able to follow all of our content throughout this crazy-ass offseason that we have. I appreciate you guys. Just know we'll be back live again. If any breaking news happens, if it happens at 4 a.m., we'll be live. We'll be live because that is what Free Agency Frenzy Week looks like. It's no rest. It's no sleep. But I appreciate you guys. Celebrate this one. Vonn Bell back in Cincinnati. Sheldon Rankins in Cincinnati. And Mekhi Becton visiting the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow. Let's see how it all shakes out for the Bengals. But all in all, I'm really curious to hear what grades you guys give the Bengals. So do me a favor as we head off, as we begin to log off for the evening. Drop down in the comment section what grade you guys are going to give the Bengals for this free agency so far. Okay? But until then, appreciate you guys.